Hi everyone, I'm Kate Stewart. I'm Flexible Solutions Analyst at Electricity Northwest, and today I'm going to talk you through our latest requirements and also a few changes we have implemented for this tender following our consultation a couple of months ago. So just to give you a brief introduction in case anyone on this webinar is completely new to flexible services, a bit of background. So we started procuring flexible services about 5 years ago. So when we do our demand and generation forecasts, we can identify where on the network there might be constraints in the future. So traditionally, we would have gone out and put plans in place to reinforce the network. But yes, about 5 years ago, with flexible services, it's a much more dynamic, smarter, and more flexible way of managing the network. So rather than reinforcing the network, which can be really costly, time consuming and disruptive, we can go out to tender and ask flexibility providers, that can be individuals or local businesses who own assets in our requirement zones, to provide the network with that extra capacity that we will need at certain times on the network, and then those providers will receive payment in return for providing those services. So this just allows us to balance supply and demand, and it ensures a safe and reliable supply of energy for our customers. So there's a lot of benefits to flexible services above reinforcement. So it allows us to utilize the assets that we already have rather than installing new ones. So this reduces our carbon impact. It allows us to balance supply and demand. So therefore, we then see a reduction in power cuts. It's less disruptive, as I mentioned before, so we don't have to dig up the roads to put new cables in. So that reinforcement would take a lot longer. It disrupts traffic and it costs more. So as an example, our latest requirements could save the network up to 28 million in reinforcement costs. And then that money is then passed back down to our customers through their energy bills. And it also supports local community energy groups and businesses that can get involved. And it supports the adoption of low carbon technologies such as heat pumps and electric vehicle charge points, because it frees up capacity on the network, so it allows them to connect more easily and quickly. And then just to go over who can provide flexible services. So they are location specific, meaning that any existing metered customers or anyone interested in building a new asset in an area where we have a requirement can participate. So you can also take part with planned assets. Capable of adjusting how much electricity you consume. So if you can flex your energy usage up or down when we ask you to. We have recently reduced the minimum requirement from 50 kilowatts per location to 10 kilowatts. So if you can provide 10 kilowatts, either from an individual asset or aggregated per zone, then you can participate, and aggregated domestic and non-domestic and industrial and commercial assets. And then just to give you an idea of the types of flexible services, there's demand reduction. So that includes electric vehicle charge points, turning off or shifting intensive processes such as fridge freezers and ovens, and controlling heating systems like heat pumps. And if you can generate electricity, so renewable generation such as wind and solar, and those work best with battery storage and standby generation or backup generation. And then also you can participate through energy efficiency measures. So if you install things like solar panels, LED lighting, insulation, or modernize your current electrical equipment, then you can participate through the adoption of those energy efficiency measures. And so this will just give you a bit of an overview of our consultation that we carried out over a 2-month period in the summer. So we're always looking at ways to collaborate with our stakeholders. It's the most effective way to shape our priorities and flexibility market approach. We really wanted to ask our stakeholders how we could make our processes more accessible and simple, especially for those new to the market. We really want to ensure that we're offering equal opportunity for everyone to get involved. And we also wanted to ask them how they thought we could support the flexibility market in Great Britain. There is a link at the bottom there if you'd like to view both our consultation and the response summary. And then this is just a snapshot of the feedback we received. So we had 19 responses, and these were collected via webinar, email. We did some one-to-one feedback sessions, and there was also an online form that stakeholders could fill out. So as you can see, there was quite an even representation from aggregators, community energy groups, consultants, suppliers, and generators. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see this is kind of the most common feedback we received. A huge one was more standardization is a huge request from our stakeholders, in particular for products which are being developed by the ENA Open Networks group at the moment, API interfaces, platforms, and availability hours. So these were in particular quite key pain points for our stakeholders. Again, as well, there's too many variations of processes, technical requirements, and contracting across all the DNOs. Some of our stakeholders thought that the 50 kilowatt minimum threshold was too high, particularly aggregators, and really struggled to have a minimum of 50 kilowatt. So that was a big barrier for them participating. And then we also asked our stakeholders about the common contract, because next year we are looking to implement it as in a framework approach, which will be kind of common across all the DNOs. But before we implement our processes, we really wanted to ask stakeholders kind of what they would like to see from this approach, how they would like to see it implemented, and what would work best for them. So the feedback was a lot of kind of a more flexible approach. So if we're using the contract for long-term requirements, to have the ability to kind of update bid prices and capacity kind of on an annual basis, those kinds of things. And energy efficiency measures, there was a lot of interest in energy efficiency, but there tends to be a lack of understanding in how they would provide that service. So I think there's a bit of confusion on providing it via the current products. So next year we will be looking at adopting a separate energy efficiency product, and also kind of improving the information that we provide on this on our website. And then some key barriers to entry are the minute-by-minute metering, penalties, location of requirements, and lack of revenue certainty. If you'd like to obviously read the full response summary, these are just little snippets. It is available via that link on the previous slide. And then this is just some of our initial commitments that we've managed to implement in the last kind of month since we did our response summary. So we have reduced our minimum threshold from 50 kilowatts per zone to 10 kilowatts. So we really hope this will allow more people to participate in our tenders. We have removed our annual commercial qualification requirement on Piclo. So previously we required providers to complete their commercial qualification annually, whereas now you'll only have to do it once. It's a one-off, and then you will remain qualified for future tenders. We have we've added alternative metering granularity. So rather than only accepting minute by minute, we now accept alternative metering such as half hourly. So we really hope that that will also open up the market to more players. I know that that was definitely a barrier for some of the providers we spoke to. And then energy efficiency, as I mentioned before, we're going to adopt a separate product, and this should help to kind of clarify the technical requirements, so things like baselining and payment mechanisms. And then with the contract, we have adopted the latest version of the common contract, and then next year we will adopt version 3 as a framework style agreement. And then just at the end, we will, of course, obviously continue collaborating with the rest of the industry to standardize as much as possible, and in particular to design a common API interface. So this is our latest requirements and what we've been up to since we started procuring flexible services in 2018. So we have launched 13 tenders. This is our 13th. Totaling 4 gigawatts of requirements across 32 different locations in the Northwest. And then our autumn tender, which launched last Monday, we're looking for 413 megawatts of flexible capacity across 29 locations in the Northwest. There's 138 requirements in total across those locations. And this is over the next 4 years, so until 2028, there is up to £7 million in revenue available. And I'll give you a bit of a breakdown of those requirements just to make it a bit easier to kind of understand where that revenue is, how many requirements are in each area. So this gives a breakdown by Cumbria, Greater Manchester and Lancashire. So you can see exactly how many requirements are in each area. Those grey icons are indications of future requirements, and then the navy ones are current for this tender. You might be wondering why there's a similar amount of revenue for Cumbria and Greater Manchester, even though there's a lot more requirements in Cumbria, and that is just down to kind of the cost of reinforcement. So the cost of reinforcement in Greater Manchester is a lot higher than in Cumbria, and therefore there is higher revenues available in that area. And then, so this is an overview of our products. So when we launch a tender twice a year, we specify the products or services that we're looking for in each tender within our invitation to tender. So the products we're currently procuring are Secure, Dynamic and Restore. And these services reflect the type of network constraint we're trying to alleviate. So Secure is a pre-fault product, and this helps to manage the load at peak times, such as traditional peaks in winter. And this is by preventing demand exceeding capacity on the network. Dynamic and Restore are both post-fault products. So these are reacting to an abnormality, such as an unplanned network event like a power cut on the network. The main difference is that Dynamic is we're trying to avoid a loss of supply to customers, whereas Restore is we've already had a complete loss of supply in an area, and we would ask providers to stay off supply, so that we can restore we can restore the rest of our customers as efficiently as possible. And then, as you can see as well, we do procure energy efficiency measures through those 3 products. So as long as you install the energy efficiency measures and you haven't already done so, and if you reduce your long-term demand, then you can earn revenue from that. So those are our products, and this will give you a snapshot of what our invitation to tender and appendices looks like. This is all available on our website via that link at the bottom. So on our website, we have an interactive flexibility map. You can click on each of the icons, so they're showing the requirements in our area. And then it will open that up and it shows you the delivery start date, the maximum amount of capacity, and postcodes. It has a breakdown of all of the requirements for each area. And then as part of our appendices, we have our standard agreement, so you can always read that through before participating. And we've got our technical specification, which outlines the technical requirements that the asset must have in order to participate. And this has been updated with all of those changes that I spoke about earlier. So if you're interested in reading that, then definitely read the latest technical specification. We have our site requirements spreadsheet. So this lists all of our requirements similar to the interactive map, but it's in kind of a list format. So if you just want to see it all on one page. And then we have half-hourly requirements. So that's forecasted half-hourly requirements for the next 4 years. And we have our postcode checker tool, which allows you to quickly check if your asset is located in one of our zones. And we have our cost calculator tool as well. So you can check that the price you're bidding in with will actually fall within our budget for that zone before you submit any bids. So we procure our flexible services tenders through Piclo, the Piclo Flex platform. So there's a link there to that. You can view all of our requirements again on Piclo. You can commercially pre-qualify. You can do that at any time before the tender opens even, and you can upload and pre-qualify your flexibility assets. And on Piclo is where you would submit your bid. So Morgan from Piclo will go through all of this in more detail following this presentation, but yeah, so once I'll just go through the, go into the next slide because we have our timeline here. So it just kind of shows you as a provider what your steps would be throughout the procurement process. So at any time you can commercially qualify your company and upload your assets. And then on the 30th of October for this tender, so that was last Monday, we opened our tender and published our invitation to tender. And that's when technical qualification opens. And then on the 19th of January, that's when the commercial qualification deadline is. So you definitely need to commercially qualify a week before technical qualification to ensure that you are qualified in time for technical qualification. And then confirm your participation. So you can either confirm which assets you want to put ahead for the competition or withdraw. And then there'll be 2 weeks where you can place the bid. And during that time, you can go back in and review and change your bids. We don't have any visibility of those bids until bidding closes. So you've got 2 weeks to place bids. And then we have about a month where we review all the bids. And then hopefully at the end of that month, we will enter into negotiations and award a contract around March. And just highlighting again that all of our requirements are also available on the open data portal. So if you would prefer to view them in different file formats, you can download them in a huge range. I know Keith spoke about that earlier, so you can download them as CSV, JSON, Excel, and you can also access them via API. And you can filter and analyze the results as well. And our distribution flexibility procurement report is on there as well. And yeah, as Keith said, we will update it kind of following each tender. And just the last slide for me, this is just some useful links. The first 3 links there are where you can view all of our requirements. So on Piclo, on our website and the open data portal. Piclo is where you would take part. And then if you'd like to keep up to date or if you want to learn more about flexible services, definitely sign up to our mailing list. And you'll also receive future event invites. And we do offer one-to-one discussions. So if you'd like, again, if you want to learn more or find out how to participate, there's a link there to book in with a member of our team. So that is all from me. Please let us know if you have any questions in the chat. I'll just pass you over to Morgan now.
Thank you very much, Kate. Hello, everybody. My name is Morgan De Silva, and I'm Implementation Coordinator with Piclo. And today, the aim of this presentation is to get you a little bit more familiar with our platform So I'll jump straight in. There's a few things I'd like to say. There are some acronyms we'll be using. So FSP is Flexibility Service Providers, and that's how we talk about what I'm hoping are some of you that are on this call that are looking to procure the competition from ENWL, and we refer to Electricity Northwest as ENWL, the L with the limited. So please don't get too confused if I refer to it as ENWL. Right, so today we're going to be talking, I'll give you a brief introduction on the platform of Piclo, a little bit about ENWL and the winter competitions, as we've already heard quite a lot of detail about, won't spend too long, and then the steps required to participate in the competitions using Piclo, so going through how to register on our platform, adding assets, company qualifications, how to confirm entry into a competition, and then bidding. And there will be some time allocated at the end for a question and answer. So steps required for participation. This is a flow diagram we'll be coming back to throughout the presentation. And so we'll be starting with registering on Piclo Flex. However, what we'll do first is what it looks like from landing on our platform without registering. So this is our landing page. And if you click, I must make clear as well, at some points in this, there will be yellow outlines of where to click that I'll be referring to. And hopefully you can see my cursor as well, and I'll try and highlight there. So if you click on View Competitions, you'll be taken onto a map of the UK where, as previously said by Kate, we've got 29 locations for ENW, a combined capacity of 413 megawatts in the upcoming competitions, about £7 million in revenue available. If you navigate to the top, as you can see here, there's a search bar and also filters. So what we've done here is we've filtered specifically for Electricity Northwest. Otherwise, it would show competition areas throughout the country, not specifically ENW. We can then see that all the competitions are highlighted on the right-hand side of the pane here, specific to the ENW area. Now, if you click on one of those competitions on the right-hand side, you will automatically be zoomed into the competition area and be able to see a lot more details specific to that competition. So we can see here, for example, when it opens and when it closes, the qualification close time, what need direction it is, and also, for example, the dynamic purchasing reference, which is more relevant to once we're inside. Additionally, at the top, you can see a teal or a green colored box, and this is something I'll refer back to once we're in the platform as a registered FSP. More information, if you see here on the bottom of the right hand side, you can see drop down boxes. So if we click on that, it shows service windows that are being advertised. So you see a little bit more detail on when that competition or when that service window is being used, the time required. So here we can see it's more or less 24 hours and how many days. So if we zoom a little bit more back out and we see in the top right hand corner, we can have the register button. So if we click on that, you will be taken to a 4-step process where you'll go through confirming your status, entering some user details, some organization details, and submitting that request. All of this is pretty simple, to be honest, as it's just a registration phase. There will be some simple details like your name, creating a password, and then some additional details about your organization. Once we've got that, you'll be notified via email with your details of how to log in, and then we're ready to add some assets. And just to clarify in this aspect, assets are referring to energy assets, previously mentioned by Kate and some of the others, if you have an EV charging point or a battery, this kind of thing. So now we're going to the first part of the qualification stage, adding assets. You go back to picloflex.com and you will be asked to log in. Of course, we have, if you've forgotten your password, you can click on the forgotten password link and it will help you redeem that. Otherwise, enter in your details and you will be taken initially to a map similar to the one that I originally showed you. However, for the purpose of this, we're going straight into adding assets. So if you navigate to the left-hand side, this is quite important, something I'll come back to. There is a vertical bar that says map at the top and then manage underneath. We'll be doing a lot of work out of this manage tab. So navigating to manage, we can see that assets is the first one at the top, and it will take you here to this page where you have several teal boxes, some green boxes, where you can download the latest empty spreadsheet template, where you will fill that out to then upload your asset files. So this is an example of the spreadsheet. And as you can see here, I filled out the first row underneath all of the information. Now, something I would urge you to have a look at is in the tabs on the bottom of the spreadsheet. So just down here on the bottom left, there is a README locked tab. Please have a look at the README tab. It has all of the information. If one is to get a little bit overwhelmed by spreadsheets, as I sometimes am, I really urge you to read the README tab because it has all of the instructions that you need to complete this spreadsheet successfully. For the most part, all of the rows, all of the columns should be filled out, but I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. And again, just an extension of the spreadsheet here where you can see certain things like active turn up capacity and turn down capacity. There's a variety of columns all the way through. Additionally, what we're looking at here is the operational and development assets, not the planned ones. That's for a different kind of competition. So please do pay attention to the tabs at the bottom of the spreadsheet. So some of the key asset data required by us, I mean, it's pretty much everything, but there are certain, if in the beginning you don't have all the information at hand to fill it out, you can start with these ones and upload your file. Additionally, we'll let you know on the platform if more data is needed in order to complete the process. Again, you're going to have all of these slides after, and I've got some links and plugs for you right at the end in terms of where you can find more support through this. So once we've added our assets, we're ready to enter the company qualification. Now, the company qualification is about applying to ENW for them to understand who you are as a flexibility service provider and confirm your application. So again, once we go to the home page of Piclo Flex, we go to the Manage tab on the left-hand side in the vertical bar. As well, something that I need to tell you here, some of these slides aren't exactly the same as you will see when you enter. But the Manage tab is always something you will see. So once we go in there, we're going to click on Applications. And what you will be looking for as FSP specific to ENW is the ENWL flexible services. Again, if you're looking at these slides and going through the platform, you might not see any of these other applications, but ENWL is what you are looking for. You click on that and you can see all the details for ENW and their dynamic purchasing system. And in the top right-hand corner, you will click Apply. Once you click apply, much like the registration process, there are 4 parts to this, and you will be putting in some details about your organization, the organization status, auditing, insurance and legal, and then the final one is a declaration and a submittal of the application. Some files that you'll need at hand are to do with your accounts, indemnity insurance and liability insurance, and these you will upload in this process. I've had a little bit of a change here. Can everyone still see what's going on?
You just might need to take control again.
Okay. I think we're back on. Confirmation?
All good on this end.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, guys. So again, when you're filling out this form, please don't worry if you need to go elsewhere and check. The information will be saved here. So just a summary of those questions. A lot of them are just yes or no questions, so don't worry too much about that. Now, once you've made that application, that will go off to ENW and they will confirm or reject your application. Don't worry if you're rejected, there will be a reason provided and you can reapply. But once it's confirmed by ENW, you can now view the map as we would normally. So the first thing to notice are the pins that we have here. So I've highlighted 2 of them. There's a blue one that's a lot bigger and there are the black ones. Now, the blue ones are showing potentially eligible assets that you have within existing competitions for ENW. The black ones are ineligible assets. Now, one of the most obvious reasons is because it's not directly in an area of the competition, but we'll see some of the other reasons now. Again, on the right-hand side, you can see the competitions that ENW are running, and you can see the assets that you have that are eligible for that competition. So as we click on one of those competitions on the right, it will zoom us into the area, and we can see a little bit more detail about the assets that we've uploaded, as well as the competition. As you can see on the bottom right hand side, we've highlighted this drop down box, which will populate, it says eligible assets with a down arrow. So we click on that and it expands to show us what assets that we have. But additionally, you can see the highlighted box here is there's a link here to any ineligible or disqualified assets. If you're wondering why is that, you can click on this link and it will take you there. So we click on that link. And we can understand here very quickly from the unqualified assets bottom link here on the left that the voltage that we have for that asset is too high. So the competition might have a limit of 0.24 kilovolts all the way to 66 kilovolts, but not for 132. So that's how we can understand why that asset is not eligible. So once we have our assets and the qualification stage is over, we are ready to confirm entry. Before qualification is over. So for confirm entry, we need to navigate again to the left-hand side in the Manage tab, and we go into the qualification, and then we can see here our confirm entry status. Now, the first thing to notice here is within the table, we can say asset data completed. We've got 2 no's. So that means in our asset upload template, there are some categories there that have not been filled out. So we either navigate to the middle row here, complete your asset data, or you can see in the paragraph there is a hyperlink to download the asset data. So once we do that, we will download that asset data. And again, we're provided with the same spreadsheet, except this time a green box, a teal box has been highlighted with which columns need to be populated. So as you can see in the middle one, operational data, most of it has been filled out, but it's requiring it to be completely filled out. And as we can see, the one next to it, nothing's been filled. So again, we just need to fill that. Once we've done with that, we upload it. And now we're ready to confirm entry. You can see here that asset data is still not completed, but sometimes we are able to confirm entry. Again, when it goes to the settlement process, you might need that data. So that's why we keep reminding you as best as possible so that you can get on with that. So we tick the box that we would like to confirm entry. As we can see, it's undecided so far on your part as the FSP, and we confirm entry. Now we get our modal coming up that says we've confirmed that, and now we can see here in the middle that we are entered into these competitions. So now we're ready to bid. Bidding will happen once the qualification phase is closed and the competition is open. So again, we've zoomed into this competition, and once we've popped up this box, we can see that the bid button is ready to be pressed. Additionally, we can navigate it from the left-hand side to the Manage tab. Then we see the bids button as highlighted here. And when we go into bids, we can see that we want to submit a new bid for the existing competition that we have. So now we're ready to put those bids in that competition using our assets. So on the left-hand side, you can see, again, all the details as you would have done on the map of the competition. But what we've highlighted here is viewing or editing included assets. So you can make bids with one of your assets or all of your assets. And we'll see that here. Once we click that hyperlink, it will take us to this modal where we can tick or untick the assets that we would like to make bids with. And once we've selected or deselected, we can always come back to make more bids with those assets that were or were not selected. The other one underneath is apply one bid to the whole competition. So for example, there's about 4 service windows in this competition. And whilst we could just input all of our data here, if we wanted to do the same for all of our assets, we click on this link. it brings up this modal where we will now fill out the details for that service window, but it will apply it to all of the service windows. So we put 1 megawatt here for a runtime of a day and 12 hours, and the utilization offer that we're offering is £263 per megawatt IR. So once we've done that, that will inevitably apply to all of that. Unfortunately, we haven't got a slide here, but that's, you can experiment in your own. Additionally, I wanted to show you the split bid. So the split bid means that within one service window, you can make multiple bids, and it doesn't mean it could be 3 or 4 or 5. And so if you hit the split bid function, you will see that the service window here goes to 2, and you hit it again, it makes it 3, and you can get rid of those by hitting the trash button just there on the right. So once you've made your bids, this is your time to submit it. You'll tick the box here and hit submit button just at the bottom. And you get the modal there saying finish bidding, or maybe you would like to add other bids if you've split the bids there. Once with the competition still open, and if you think you've made a mistake on some of your bids, you can edit your active bids. Again, here on the left hand side, edit those active bids. And once the bids have either been confirmed or rejected by ENW, once the competition is closed, you will be able to see your bid results here, and you can expand more on that with the view button on the right. Again, the contracts as well, you have the opportunity to download those contracts and have a look. And finally, a few dates. Again, Kate has already presented these, so I'll skip over that. We'll leave up this QR code for 10 seconds as I kind of go through this, but this is a link to support@picloflex.com. It has many frequently asked questions, so anything that you get a bit stuck on, you can also have a look here. Again, the slides will be given to you, so you will have access to this, both the link and the QR code. Also, it's very important to let you know that you can do all of this using our application programming interfaces, your APIs. So this makes it a lot more streamlined in terms of uploading the information to Piclo Flex. And again, there is lots of information online to do this via API. And one thing that we're very excited about is our Piclo Learning Academy. What this is pre-recorded content to help you through everything I've been through today, but in a much more personalized version where you can click on each video, you can stop, you can pause, you can keep going, do it on a faster thing. But I implore you to have a look at this. You will need user details. So once you've found the link, email us and we can provide you with login details, unless of course you're already signed up. But again, do have a look at Piclo Academy. We're really excited about people using it and gathering your feedback. So that's us there from Piclo. Thank you very much. Again, if you're an FSP, a flexibility service provider, and you'd like to book a demo, you can go through the process with this QR code here, or just by emailing us at support@picloflex.com.